heard that in a long time, Coach.
Absolutely.
I ain't heard that in a long time. That's how we started.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Rocky, and I'm here on the HBCU Coaches Corner. I would like to thank everybody for joining in tonight. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with us. This is a very special edition of HBCU Coaches Corner. We're here tonight to honor somebody who was very instrumental in the HBCU sports media space, and someone who was very close to our featured host, which is Coach Cole. You know how we get this started every day, each and every time. First off, I want to introduce the Rattler himself, Mr. Campbell, also known as the Bishop. How you doing, Mr. Campbell?
Hey, man, listen, man, I'm excited. Again, it's we did a show Sunday on Sipping on Sundays because, as I said, Charlie Neal was a personal friend of my father's. You can see the background work with my father at WOK in Washington, D.C. So, man, just now we get to see the other side of his broadcasting career of the sports side. Our show is more about his radio side and how he got to the sports side. So this is nothing more than a linkage and a carryover, which I'm excited to see of people that he covered, people that he worked with. And, hey, man, I'm just here to add a little value to the show.
Hey, Coach Cole, we all know you are the featured host, right? But I want to get a reaction from you in this moment. I want to play something for you, Coach. And can you tell me what comes to mind when you hear this?
Alabama for the SWAC football championship game between the Alabama State Hornets and the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern is looking for their first SWAC championship since 1968. And just moments ago, Texas Southern head coach Johnnie Cole addressed his team.
What do you, Coach, when you hear that, what comes to mind?
Man, it's emotional time, man. That's you guys. That's just, man. Y'all went and dug something up on me, man. I said I wasn't gonna be emotional, but that's what I've dreamed of, man. Since 1980, as a junior in high school, trying to figure out where I wanted to go to school at, man. And I heard a voice, and it was Charlie Neal, man. And that's why it's so important that you know, these people being on TV, man, you just don't know who watching. And as a 17-year-old kid, man, when I seen that show and him broadcasting the game back at my junior in that voice, you know, and I chose to go to a HBCU school and man, just seeing Charlie's work from then, I had to meet him. You know what I mean? I had to meet him and had the opportunity, man, to really didn't get a chance to really meet him, you know, in and out from the 80s till I start getting into coaching in 1986, and actually had to start meeting him, and we start talking, and you know, and I've kept in touch with him over years, and we end up having a personal relationship. But man, that brings back memories. Because one thing about it, and we gonna have some great people on here. You know, I've had guys like Willie Totten call me, James Hadnot, you know, old players, James West, man, just guys who call me and say, man, look, whatever I need to do, you know. So tonight, man, it'll be very interesting on the guys that call in and share. the thing about it is, let me. I'm gonna play some. Can you hear that? Can y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all know that song? It's called Float On, Mr. Campbell.
Yes, sir.
Man, I'll tell you guys, man, and I'll tell you why I play that song is. And I want this is my euphoria first time ever hearing him on back in them days, man. You know, and I know when I put out about him being the wizard, and if you've seen the Wizard of Oz show, I'm talking about the old one, and where they you know, the Lion and the Tin Man and Dorothy walked the yellow brick road, and just think, I want to just think how I'm thinking as a player moving into the culture realm of, man, how can I get to the game that Charlie Neal calls? He was either calling one on television, and back then, you know, Campbell, we didn't play on television much. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So it was like either you were winning, kicking tail, or you in the championship. And man, I tell you, we you know, I worked my butt off. You guys know I got off into coaching and just always dreamed of, man, when I'm gonna get that opportunity to be the head man. And Charlie Neal called my game. So when you played that, man, you blew me up, coach. You blew me up. You blew my whole speech up. So when I say the Wizard, you know, you remember when they finally got to the castle, and they walked in on the Wizard, and he behind the door, and he throwing up his clouds, and everybody trembling and shaking. I want my audience to just be with me for a minute, and it was incredible, man, to meet the Wizard. Then he sent them off, and then when they came back, and when I came to play my first championship game as a head football coach, that was the Wizard, man. That was the voice that I always wanted to hear, and I could always go back to that game, man, and share that with my kids, and hopefully my kids share that. Hey, we were in that championship game, and it was important. You know, Charlie was a guy that not only was he a broadcaster, man, I mean, he brought people with him. You know what I'm saying? He was the Howard Cosell, and I know I'm going back. You know, he never left black college football. It wasn't about money for him, you know, and talking to a lot of his old friends and stuff, it wasn't about money per se for him. It was about that he wanted to take black college sports to the next level. He wanted to make sure it was at the top level professionally, you know. And that was the thing about him, was just so amazing, man. I mean, not only did he call my championship game, he also went a step forward and gave me an opportunity and referenced me to HBCU Go TV as well. You know, that's two things about him in my career, that he was that close, you know, and I felt that close to him. I couldn't wait to get an opportunity. I told him, I said, Charlie, man, if I could just work my way to get to call one game with you, you know, and I probably would have been the second coach to ever do that. And tonight we'll have on the first coach in Eddie Robinson. So that's my thing, and that's why I call him the Wizard, man. It's that voice and what he could do, and he made them games magical. So that's kind of my little thing, man, about Charlie Neal, man. Greatness, coach, just greatness. I'm big on guys who really just take it to another level, and he always took it to another level. No matter whether it was a Division II game, you know, Division I in black college, he never left us. You know what I mean? He is the epitome of a Martin Luther King to me in the sports world. He's the epitome of the Malcolm X that we need to make sure we cover and take care of our own. And he did that, coach. He did that. He never strayed away. He done some ESPN games. He done some college games. He done some other people games. But when there were black college games, he was there, man. He was there to make that call, and it always sound professional. Man, play that one more time for me, coach. Can you play that one more time for me?
championship game between the Alabama State Hornets and the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern is looking for their first SWAC championship since 1968. And just moments ago, Texas Southern head coach Johnnie addressed his team.
Man, that's life, man. Look, that's a memory I'll never forget, man. But you know, we have our memories. I know Coach Bishop. You know, I know folks said a lot of things about your daddy and him, man, and that's where he started off as a broadcaster on the radio, and he just went on Greyhound bus station. You know, we've been able to sit down, me and him been able to sit down, and he's been able to talk to me and share how he got where he got, and I always cherish those moments.
Now, Steve, I know you covered the relationship between your family and Charlie Neal in Sipping on Sundays on Sunday. But could you just tell us what, for those people who wasn't able to listen to Sipping on Sunday, you guys can go back and get a more in-depth explanation of it. But basically can you explain the relationship between your family and Charlie Neal? You're muted.
As you guys can see my background, Charlie started in 1969 along with my father and two other DJs. They came to WOK, the legendary radio station, AM radio station, Washington, D.C. And Charlie, my father, was the morning guy, and Charlie was that bring you home drive time guy. And they worked together, and they worked very closely. And back then, they were the voice of the community. But one of the things that Charlie was always interested in was sports. So in 1971, he was able to work at the NBC affiliate in Washington, D.C. as the weekend sports anchor. So Charlie was a man of many jobs. And one of the things and I was trying to get some of, because unfortunately, there's only a few of them left from that era. But Charlie was a man that always had a job. And one of the things, one of my dad's friends that I talked to, he said, man, listen, let me tell you something about Charlie. Charlie worked as a sports anchor. He worked as a DJ. He had a bus company. When Charlie went down to WEDS down in Philadelphia, he was the operations manager. Charlie started working in law enforcement. So Charlie was the type of person that before he even got to BET, was somebody that was so well-rounded and that was always making sure that he was the best that he could be. So that's why I was excited when I was able to have Mr. Symonds on and other people I've talked to. And like I say, again, this goes back before he even went to BET, because again, we're talking about 1969 all the way before he even got to BET. And like I said, he worked with my father for 4 years. Again, he was there at my father's funeral. So for me, it was a personal relationship. And the most exciting thing that I'll say, I got to see Mr. Neal at the Celebration Bowl, Jackson State versus South Carolina State. And I saw him because I think he had just gotten into the SWAC Hall of Fame. He had his red coat on. And I saw him, we were sitting in the same section. And I walked down to him and I introduced myself. And he looked. And the first thing, and Coach can expound on this, the first thing he asked. Now, mind you, I have not seen Charlie Neal other than one time in high school when he came to Jackson. But mind you, he hadn't seen my mother since 1976. And the first thing they asked me, how's your mother Linda doing? Marky, that's 50 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
50 years. So that tells you the quality of the man. That he and just still knew my mother's name. And I said, Mr. Neal, she is still alive and she's doing well. So to have that honor, to sit back, you know, I'm glad, like I told Coach, we could do 5 shows about Charlie Neal. So one show was not enough. So this is a different show that'll be a little bit different, because mine was a little bit more about his early start and bringing it all the way in. And, you know, like I said, again, thank Mr. Symonds for coming on. But again, I'm honoring his legacy where he started from, and that's WOK. Washington, D.C.
One of the things is important to me, you know, and you guys are helping me fulfill my dream, is to make sure that we don't lose our champions, you know, and you know, Charlie Neal is a champion. He might not get this on ESPN or any other channel. You know, we got to take care of us. You know what I mean? And that's what this show is doing, that we can stand on our own and glorify our champions, man. And losing him was losing the icon, but he touched so many people. And you got a guy behind the scene. We're gonna come out in a little bit. Is that Lou? Gonna get Lou to come out.
Yeah, we have both of the gentlemen in the back.
Hadnot, and of course Curtis Simon will tell you why it's important. and what he did to make BET and to assist Curtis Simon in his endeavors to blow it up. And that was the only way, guys. Just think. I went to go see the Michael Jackson movie, and I just didn't know that MTV did not play African American groups. That was crazy, wasn't it? It was crazy. So with Curtis Simon coming on and Lou coming on and guys that have worked with him, that made BT made black college football important. So just think, we weren't playing on no other, and if it probably wasn't for BT, then it wasn't probably no ESPN per se on a consistent basis. So man, this guy was legendary. He was always the center focus of the direction that we was going, and he was always put black college sports, and let me say sports, first. You know what I mean? First, before he thought about anything. It wasn't about him, being in NBC and working for the NFL. It was, he always made sure that black college sports was first. It was classy. And that's who Charlie Neal was. That I think he is, just not only to me, but to our audience and all the athletes that he called their name.
Hey, Coach, we have two very special guests on to right now, and I think you should be the one to introduce both of these fine, esteemed gentlemen that are joining our panel tonight.
Well, I'm gonna need I ain't gonna say the best for last, but I'm gonna introduce my frat brother Lou Holder. Man, I gave first time that I was in the box. Man, this is a guy that I was the analyst, and he was the play-by-play guy, and we just jailed, man. We just jailed, and we've been keeping in touch. He's the award winner in broadcasting. He handles the East Coast. Of course, that's where Charlie grew up with. He can tell us a lot of inside story. And he actually was in the booth. And next is, I can't say enough about Curtis Neal, our personal touch. Mother taught me how to dance in an Upper Bound program. He went to school with my brothers, man. And then when you look on the executive side of black college sports, another sensational icon in his mind at Central State, Ohio, little college up there in Wilberforce, Ohio, that I could put black college sports on television, and that's my main goal, and that's been his life effort, and he's done a super, super job, man, because believe me, guys, if it weren't for this man, we wouldn't be where we are televised wise, putting our sports on TV. HBCU CEO Curtis Simon. Man, how you doing, fellas? Coach, hey, we're gonna let the young man first, Mr. Simon. Lou.
No problem.
So, Lou, give us your Charlie Neal thing, or how you feel, or how you even got into the business.
Well, first of all, thank you, gentlemen. I really, really appreciate this opportunity to be on. This is special. This is really, really special. Your lead-in, the stuff that you talked about, encapsulates everything. I mean, this man was Charlie Neal was, all of that. I mean, he was trailblazer. He was our Jackie Robinson. He was in that regard. And Jackie Robinson has one of my favorite quotes. It said, "A life is not important except on the impact that it has on other lives." And how much more can you equate that quote to the life of Charlie Neal? But I do have to give reference to Curtis Symonds. As much as Charlie was on the mic, when it talks about business acumen, it talks about setting up opportunities. Curtis Symonds is a pioneer that is, once in a lifetime and once in a generation. And those two together got me opportunities that I'm able to sit here with you right now. I mean, I had my broadcasting career, but the breadth and depth of it really came to life when I got to meet Curtis Symonds and then Charlie Neal soon after that. I've been in the Washington, D.C. area now for 24 years. But I got my start at Temple University when I was in grad school. And that's when I, growing up in the Philadelphia area, I mean, Charlie Neal was on the radio in Philly. And so we knew about Charlie Neal. You knew if you did your history when you got into the broadcasting industry, you knew about your history. And Charlie Neal was that history. And so it's amazing the people that you meet along the way. And so in my career, it brought me to Washington, D.C., back to Washington, D.C., where, I was born at Howard University. And so when I got here in 2002, I quickly met all the people that were of substance in Black broadcast journalism. And so I connected with Curtis, and then soon after Charlie Neal. And it's just amazing to be in that space. I've had very few pinch me moments in my career. I've interviewed a lot of people, Emmy Awards, everything like that. But when I got a chance to share a booth with Charlie Neal, that was something. I mean, I really had to concentrate on my craft because he handpicked me to be in the booth with him. But it was hard. It was hard to focus knowing that I'm sitting next to a living legend. I mean, you don't get a chance to do that. You mentioned Howard Cosell, you mentioned the Bob Costas, you mentioned all of those people, right? Charlie Neal was that. And he stayed true to the college. When you, like you had said, Coach, when you had Charlie Neal on your game, you had arrived as a Black college athlete, right? And when he called you and considered you someone he wanted to mentor or somebody that he wanted to pour into, man, that was just as important, So you didn't want to let him down, but he just poured into people. And I think that's the part of Charlie Neal that is just as good as the pristine and unbelievable voice and actually talent that he had, is that him pouring back into other people, young broadcasters, connector. He was the master connector. I mean, he connected everybody. We're all on this call because of people like Charlie Neal. And so he made sure that everybody knew who everybody was. There was the game, but then there was the networking and all the other stuff that went along with the game that Charlie Neal was just a master at. And he would make sure that he would introduce the young to the seasoned and make sure people got a chance. Coach, when you and I were in that booth together, I couldn't help but think that it was because of Charlie and Curtis Symonds that we were in the booth together.
That's right.
And we're sitting there, and I was just like, wow, when you talk about your legacy and the people now, they have these things called the coaching tree, Belichick's coaching tree, Lombardi's coaching tree, all these, Eddie Robinson's coaching tree. When it comes to a broadcast coaching tree, the people that are on those branches because of Charlie Neal, is tremendous. So I am just so thankful to be one of those people. I live right down the street from him. And so I was able to go over to his house all the time and check up on him and have relationship with him. True legend. Curtis as well. We all live in the Washington, D.C. area. And so the Black excellence that I've been able to experience in my career is something that I remember much more than the X's and the O's, the Jimmies and the Joes, and all of the things, just the people that you meet along the way. And Charlie Neal is at the top of my list of memorable moments in my broadcasting career.
Yeah. Well, Coach Simon, I'm gonna call you Coach. I call everybody Coach. You know that, Coach.
Ain't no problem, Charlie. We family, so you ain't got to worry about that.
Hey, I look at you and Charlie as Batman and Robin.
Yes.
I know one of your wings been clipped, man, but one can't go without the other. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. One can't go without the other. Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hitman Hearns. It was Curtis and Charlie Neal. You were doing the administrative side, and I had a point man that can make it all work and look the way that it should look when you start going out. Tell us how important it is with the HBCU Go. Charlie has taken us off. He's done most of all the games. Those first couple of years you was off and running, and we had some great guys. James Hadnauer called in a little later, and Lou and some other guys. Tell us how important that we support HBCU Go TV, and how you kind of got it up on his legs.
Well, I think first of all, let me just say this, man. I want to thank all you guys for really respecting the man who is the legend of Black college sports, and that to me is a big honor. I told Jody the other day that the day that she decides on the funeral, I want to speak on behalf of people that have had the experience of being around a man that, as Lou just laid out very, very professionally, that has really been an anchor in Black college sports. And I met Charlie in 1988 when I came to BT from ESPN. And when I first met Charlie, as everybody has said, and you guys have mentioned it, you talked about it, Johnnie, and Rock talked about it. Steve talked a lot about it yesterday on when I did the podcast with Steve. The voice was around the corner. You heard that voice. That was a special voice. That was a special voice, man. And the minute I heard it, I said about Johnson, this guy is special, man. I don't know where he's been hiding in the cave, but this guy is special, and we need to do something with it. Yeah. And when I came into BT in 1988, I was blown away because we were doing HBCU games on tape delayed, and I was like, why? Why are we not doing live games? I've never seen sports done tape delayed, and it took me a little bit to get Bob convinced of live sports, but I was able to do it. And Charlie was really, the one that was really pushing it in the back that a lot of people didn't know about it. But we got it going. And then he brought in a lot of great people. I mean, him and Len Barney, God bless Len. Len's not doing well himself, but they were a tandem. And they were a tandem that a lot of people didn't get to see how good Len was. Len was good. He was very good. And that was a thing that, we didn't do a good job at BT really promoting Black college sports in the beginning the way it should have been promoted, to really talk about the specialty we had. And when you go back in the heart of BT, we did so many things back then in the late 80s, going into the 90s, that a lot of people forgot about. Sports Reporter, I was looking at the article that Bill Roden wrote the other day about how important Sports Reporter was at BT. And Charlie started it, big time ahead of ESPN. And all the people like Lou, Mike Wilbon, James Brown, all of these guys came through BET, through Charlie's tutelage. And that was the show. And that's where the respect came about the growth and the professionalism that Charlie brought to the table. But the biggest thing that Charlie will always go down with me is that his history. The man was a history maker, bottom line. I've never seen a guy in my life, and I've been around a lot of, being at ESPN, I've been around a lot of announcers who do games and all that, but nobody compared to Charlie with the history. The last 5 years, I was telling him a while back, I went to the Black College Football Foundation. They always on Friday before the award ceremony. On Saturday, Charlie was the anchor introducing the honorees. And the most amazing thing every year was how Charlie could introduce people without no paperwork. It was all out of his head. He could break it down. He could take you back to 19X. Talk about, hey, man, I remember when you were da-da-da-da-da, and you did this, you did that. And I would actually, it just blew me away. I would sit there in the audience and just be like a kid in a candy jar because I couldn't believe this guy could just go off on the history of every honoree that was there. And he knew it. And the wilder thing behind it was he could talk about, oh, by the way, I did your grandfather. I called your grandfather's game. Oh, I called your dad's game. You know, and these guys knew it, and they were honored. I think one of the biggest things this past summer that was really amazing to me, I was playing golf with Otis Birdsong at some golf outing somewhere. And he went on about, when I mentioned BET, he went on about, Curtis, man, there's only one announcer that I have the most respect for, and that's Charlie Neal. So I said, I tell you what, I'm going to call Charlie right now. I got his direct line. I'm going to call him right now, and I'll put you on the phone. So I called Charlie. I said, Charlie, I got somebody who really wants to speak to you. He said, well, who is it? I said, one of the best basketball players in the world, Otis Birdsong. He said, wait, put him on the phone. Otis and him got on the phone and talked for about 10 minutes. Otis got off the phone, gave me my phone back. He said, Curtis, you've just made my whole world, man. I had the opportunity to talk to Charlie Neal. I have followed Charlie Neal since I've been a kid. And now I'm sitting here talking to this guy on the phone. I followed him in his BT life. I followed him all the way up to where he is today. He is the greatest of the greatest.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, when you really think about sports and what Charlie meant to not only black college sports, just the word sports.
Yeah.
And when he got the Chris Schenkel Award for the NFL,
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest thing that I really sat back, and I was in the audience with his wife, Jody, and my wife, and I'm saying, this guy is a legend, man.
Yeah.
I got to be thankful for the fact that I've been beside him.
Yeah.
And the beauty that of Charlie that I always loved, even back in 1988, his respect for people. Now, here I was, a young guy, coming to BT, I was 32 years old at the time. I'm 70 now, and Charlie respected me like it was no tomorrow. And he gave me a lot of tutelage because of my time at ESPN. Because we got together and we saw the vision of BT with sports, what it could have been. But we were too early. But I wasn't going to let it die. I had this thing inside of me that we had to give black college sports the exposure. So when I left BT in 2001, I farted around, did a lot of different things. And then I got the fever. I said, you know what? I got to create a channel that helps give black college sports the exposure it deserves.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that, Prime got to Jackson State, really blew it up, to start opening more doors by talking about how it's been undervalued and what it needed to do. So my timing was right at that time. And so when I began to start pushing this thing out, it took me 12 years to get somebody to, grab that sign that I was going out on the street.
Yeah.
Byron came by and said, you know what, Curtis, I know what you did with BT. I like your dream. I'm going to help you with this thing.
Yeah.
And God bless you.
Let me cut in there for a minute, Coach. Man. So we still want you to stay. We got a couple guys on the line want to get their thoughts of Charlie real quick, and I want you guys.
Throw him in.
So we go ahead, Coach Rocky.
Hey guys, you guys are here on the line. We have two guys on. The first gentleman I'd like to go to is Willie Totten. Willie Satellite Totten.
Don't make no mistake.
Another legend.
We selfish tonight, man. We on us.
That's a good one.
Coach Totten, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, can you listen to us on the phone?
I can.
Yeah. Listen to us on the phone because we can hear your sound in the background. And but just listen to us on the phone and that way we can keep the conversation going and there's no delay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Coach.
Oh, you want me to keep going? Go ahead.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that when I talked to JC Johnnie Cole earlier today, I knew that I could not let this moment pass without saying something on behalf of my friend. Charlie and I got to be very, very close after we both became Hall of Famers in the Black College Hall of Fame. But I used to tease with him all the time. And, you know, when BET was doing the playback games and the games back in the early 80s, I think we probably one of the first teams that Charlie called on BET. And I think we played against Tennessee State. And it's just the fact that I think the exposure that we got from BET and the exposure that we got from Charlie really blew Mississippi Valley up. You know, we were doing our thing on the field, but people really didn't know anything about Mississippi Valley. And we played every weekend. We played on BET, and you know, Charlie with that voice of his, and he really gave Valley the exposure that we needed, and we've been friends ever since. And he could go back and he remembers some games that I played, and he could remember the stats just like I can. That just goes to show his how he took his job serious, how he promoted HBCUs, and I give a lot of credit to him. I know a lot of my teammates, and I know Mississippi Valley give a lot of credit to Charlie and BET during the time, because we were exciting, and nobody would have known about it if we hadn't been they didn't show us on TV. So that gave us an opportunity to have an audience, and I tell you, it was exciting. Go back now, I can look at some of the clips now and hear Charlie voice on some of my clips that I got now in my archives, and it's just amazing. And when I heard of his passing, I was really thrown off because at the time we were at a Hall of Fame function when I found that he was really ill. And I just recently had talked to him maybe a week, 2 weeks prior to that, and he told me that he was getting better. He was feeling better, but I could tell his voice was weak, though. It wasn't that voice that I'm used to hearing. But I can say I owe it a lot to Charlie. Definitely going to miss him. Sitting at the table with him at Hall of Fame functions, he's always sharing a story. He's always telling something that went on at Mississippi Valley, and he really lifted up Willie Totten and Jerry Rice and the Gunslinger. He really made us feel like we were superstars, and you know, a lot of my credit goes to him.
Appreciate you, man. I appreciate you taking time out your day. I know, man, we talked a lot about what he brought to the table, man, because like you said, well, ain't no Willie Totten and no Jerry Rice and no hood offense if you didn't have a voice to go with it, you know, and that was the combination that uplift that, man. I appreciate you giving us a call. We got one more coming in, Coach.
Yeah, we have HBCU Go broadcaster James Hadnot on the line.
James, my idol. You know,
yeah, I'm here.
Y'all put me with the young
So,
cat.
Johnnie, you hear me?
He spanked me every now and then up in that box.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, hey James, can you listen to us? Can you listen to us on the phone? That way, I know a lot of people.
I'm here. I'm hearing it.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead, Coach. James,
hello?
James, can you hear us now?
I can hear you when you're talking my name, but I can barely hear you overall. I can't hear if Johnny. Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. So you listen. See, it
Okay.
sounds like you're listening to us on YouTube, and we need you to listen to us on the phone.
Yeah, I turned the YouTube off.
All right, then. All right. So tell us, James. I introduced you as HBCU broadcaster James Hadnot. Can you kind of tell us about what was your connection to Charlie and what he meant to you?
Oh, my connection to Charlie is one that really speaks to my beginnings, to be completely honest. I was working in Shreveport, and I was really wanting to kind of get to the next level of what my career kind of looked like. And it was a game. It was Grambling. They were taking on Prairie View A&M in the State Fair Classic in Dallas, Texas. And I really wanted to figure out who was on TV, because I saw at the game in the game notes that somebody was going to be on, the game was going to be on TV, but I didn't know who, I didn't know how. And so I was like, let me go up and figure it out. And I went up to the booth. They didn't let me in initially. And so I had to go back down, and I walked up the stairs, and this nice lady who was working the elevator, she was like, oh yeah, you can go on and go through. And so once I got through, I got in there and I saw John Kelly and Charlie Neal. And I talked to John, and John was like, this is the guy you need to meet. You need to talk to Charlie. And I kind of talked to him for a second, and that booming voice that everybody's talked about, he, in a very, very calm way, was like, oh, okay, son, well, let me know more about yourself. And I kind of continued to let him know what I did and where I was from and what I wanted to do. And he said, well, just give me your information, and he would get back to me. And I didn't know it. I didn't think anything more of it. I just thought, okay, well, I appreciated this time. He didn't have to do that. He showed me his notes. And one thing about Charlie is he takes vociferous notes. He had pages and pages and pages of notes over this team. And that's one thing that I took away just from my own personal broadcasting, is just the amount of preparation that he did for his games. And as I've obviously kind of heard more and talked more about him, that's what has been the big thing in talking about him, is just him telling the stories of Black college sports and him making sure that people knew about the Walter Paytons of the world and all the different players that came from HBCUs, and making sure that everybody knew that there was a real history of HBCU athletics in comparison to maybe what others might not think of. And so once I got back to Shreveport, a couple of months later goes by, and I get a call from a Maryland number that I didn't really expect. And it was like, oh, hello, James, this is Charlie Neal. And I would like to ask you if you would like to do some basketball for us. And to me, that was the big break for me. So Lou talked about, I'm starting to get emotional thinking about it, because it really, when he said that, and we got on the call, and we was on the Zoom call with Lou Holder, and I was on there with Tim Scarborough, and I was on there with Curtis. And for me, as somebody that had put so much time and so much work into trying to get to this level, he believed in me.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person that the only thing that I want from somebody is support. Right? Because if you support me, then you believe in me. And because I got to believe in myself already, right? Because if you want to do anything, you got to believe in yourself. But once somebody believes in you to the point where they'll stick their neck out for you, because if it comes back on them, they look bad, that shows true belief. And when I got that call from him, it really showed that he believed in me and believed in my ability and what I could potentially be. And that's something that I can't ever forget. And that was the moment for me, because then once I did my game at Bowling Green, and then I've been doing the games at HBCU go up to this point, and even just to kind of take over for him last year when he was not feeling good, and for everybody to believe in me in that way, and making sure, like in that last game when Texas Southern, they in doing that last game for Texas Southern versus Alabama A&M, and making sure that I was like, and thank you to Charlie Neal, in that last game, not knowing that would potentially be the last time anybody would say anything about him on a football broadcast. Like, all those things really mean a lot to me, because he believed in me to the point that he wanted to kind of have me be the person that was speaking on these sports moving forward. And I just don't take that lightly. So, like, my big Charlie Neal moment and story is really just the fact that, as Lou Holder said, right, he has a true broadcasting tree. And to be a part of that broadcasting tree and be a part of him. Because recently, in church, we one of the sermons was about making sure that you're doing things not for yourself, being humble, and not doing things just for yourself, but doing things for others. And I truly believe that Charlie embodied that, because he didn't just do things for himself. He did things for others in regards to building Black college sports, in regards to all the people. Anytime I go to games, even right now, when I would go to Jackson State for basketball or go to Florida A&M for football, they'd be like, is Charlie going to be here? And people know who he is because he was doing things for others. He would talk to them on these different games. And so just all that combined in the idea of just he was doing things for others. I am considered others because he did something for me and really kind of set my career ablaze and give me the opportunity to do things freelance and everything like that. I just can't say enough and thank him enough for just what he was able to do for my career. So that's really my story in a nutshell. Just the ability to believe in me and to really want and really see me as somebody that could push the stories forward and continue to tell the story of Black college sports. And so that's really kind of my story on Charlie Neal.
And let me jump in for a minute because I just want to just tap on what James is talking about, is that, I've seen James start on HBCU Go and how he has blossomed through Charlie's tutelage is unbelievable. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to hold on to him, because I think a big time network is going to jump on him before it's all over. And I'm fine with that, because that's what it's all about, helping somebody reach that dream, as he talked about. But he has taken himself to another level because he has really become a student of the broadcast game through Charlie's tutelage. James is well prepared when he comes in and does any games, anything he does around sports. He has packaged it up and he does his homework. And he has great knowledge about what he's doing, who he's talking to. And as he mentioned, Charlie has been a super mentor to him and how he has positioned himself, because he's really, truly turning into one hell of a broadcaster. And I see him to have a really bright future down the road.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Can I jump in?
Let Lou jump. Yeah.
Go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, and that mentorship didn't just happen with James, who's again is doing a phenomenal job, but people who are also along in their careers. Like he mentored people that had already been established as broadcasters, like myself. Donna Hopkins, who did a lot of track with him. We were all kind of established in the game, but he saw more. We were broadcasters, but play-by-play and other things that Curtis knew what I could do. Charlie was the advocate for it, and he made sure that he would call me up and I said, well, Charlie, I haven't really done too much. I just go in there and do it. Your professionalism is going to carry you until you figure out whatever it is you're trying to do. But I did want to say one thing that is the depth and breadth of Charlie Neal. Like, Charlie Neal was more than just sports. And there's two instances that I can recall where Charlie Neal's name came out, that sports was just the catalyst, but he was bigger than life. One of my fondest moments in broadcasting was doing a track and field event with him. It was the MEAC Track and Field Championships down in Greensboro, North Carolina. And so we fly down from DCA, we fly down to Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're getting the Uber to go to the track. And Jesse Jackson is on his way out of Greensboro, North Carolina to another event. Jesse Jackson stops Charlie Neal and they start talking. And it was like, and I'm sitting there and I'm just like, is this really happening? Like, Charlie Neal and Jesse Jackson are talking like best of friends, but Jesse Jackson even knew Charlie Neal's influence and what he meant for sports. So it's like two icons going at it, but Charlie Neal was that person. He was that it person. And then Curtis sent me on a story about Curtis Symonds sent me to the Capitol Hill to interview Joyce Beatty, the congresswoman from Ohio that went to Central with him. And so we're sitting there talking, and I am trying to do a political story. Curtis put me in that environment that I could interview anybody. So I'm doing this political story. She went to Central the same time Curtis did, and they're talking. And don't you know, in this interview, Charlie Neal's name comes up from the chair emerita of the Congressional Black Caucus is talking about Charlie Neal.
Right.
And so that's the breadth and depth of Charlie Neal, that sports was just what he did, but he was larger than sports. He was larger than life. Like, he was our champion for everything. And so when you think of the sports, that was just his catalyst to change and affect people's lives in sports, entertainment, politics. Charlie Neal was that guy.
And as we talk about Charlie Neal's broadcasting influence and how far it extends, I made a phone call yesterday to someone to try to allow someone else to give me a context. Because for Coach Cole and Mr. Campbell, Charlie Neal, they speak about him as a family member, almost. I know Coach Cole does, and Campbell, because he knew his father, they have a special connection to Charlie Neal. So I wanted to truly understand who he was, and so I made a phone call to someone who I think is very influential and also a broadcaster. So I'm going to step aside and let him come up and let him kind of also explain what his relationship was with Charlie Neal, because I think he has a very interesting perspective as I step aside and bring.
On. Hello, guys. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, Reg.
Hey, how's it going? Mr. Symonds, how's it going? Good to see
seeing you, man. You always doing your thing, Reggie. I ain't mad at you, brother.
Hey, I'm always on the grind. Look, it used to just be me and you, baby. HBCU.
You got it. You got it. You're right.
It used to be just me and you in New Orleans doing our thing from week to week. It's good to see you. Lou, how's it going?
Good to see you, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Coach Cole.
What up? What up? What up?
There he is, Coach Cole.
you know, I'm taking us, man. We ain't gonna forget us.
That's right. We're not gonna forget. Steve, Mr. Campbell, how's it going? Good to see you, man. Good to see you guys.
Reggie, glad to have you on. Yes. Absolutely.
Man, I tell you what, it is. I was talking to Rock. It's been 29 years in the game for me doing radio, and I have been blessed to have two of the greatest mentors ever in the history of broadcasting, between Charlie Neal and the legendary Ro Brown, have been my two mentors through all of this. But my relationship with Mr. Neal was so unique because it wasn't so much the broadcasting end of it. Being old radio guys, it was the storytelling part of Mr. Neal that really brought us close, and we would hang out when he would come down to this area. I would go to DC, and the relationship between Doug Williams and I, as Curtis knows, Simon knows, Doug Williams and I have a very tight relationship. Charlie, of course. And so, but my relationship would always be behind the scenes and the storytelling of Charlie Neal. And, I don't know how much, I didn't get a chance to see the first part of the show, but I don't know how much people talked about that. Charlie was a motorcycle guy. He was the instructor for state police motorcycles. The motorcycle, Charlie drove a bus for Earth, Wind, and Fire. He told me the story. He told me the story of how he would be at the radio station doing a shift at the radio station. Earth, Wind, and Fire would come in town. He would leave his shift, get on the bus, go pick them up from the hotel, drop them off at the arena, then go back to his radio shift and finish the shift, and then go back and pick them up on the bus.
That's real. That is real. That's real story. That's real story.
Yes, and so that was my relationship with Charlie Neal. Those storytelling moments, and broadcasting wise, I mean, he was just impeccable. There's nothing more that I could say about him broadcasting wise that everybody else hadn't said about him. But Charlie Neal, the man, was always somebody who was open. He was giving. In my experience, and you can hear everybody else talk about how he never hid his gift. He never tried to keep his gift to himself. He brought you in, and especially if he saw that you had talent and you were somebody who was willing to work, he would bring you in and do whatever he could to help you. And that was the Charlie Neal I know, and those relationships, his relationship with Coach Billy Joe, being Villanova guys, being Philly guys, his relationship with Gamble and Huff. I mean, Charlie Neal was a eclectic man. I mean, he was a Renaissance man.
Yeah,
he was a Renaissance man, and beyond the sports, like Lou talked about, his relationships with Jesse Jackson. Charlie was a true Renaissance man who happened to talk about sports in a very specific and great way. That's who Charlie Neal was to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on, Reggie. You're right on. Right up. I think what a lot of people tend to forget, man, on BET when we were carrying boxing. We had boxing on BET through Butch Lewis for a few years, and Charlie would call all the boxing matches, and he had some heavy hitters in there would do telecasts who were former greats, and they were talking like they knew each other, like it was going back to being childhood.
Yes.
He could just make you feel that comfortable in that box. But I mean, I think, Reggie, you say it right, man, that he is a Renaissance man who had a lot of legs. He was amazing, the different things he did, from the motorcycles to having the buses, to refereeing. He did a bunch of stuff, man. Charlie stayed busy. It's one thing he did. You could never question about it as far as that. He always was busy, and really, as you said, I think telling the stories, because he ran into so many people. I mean, one of the greatest stories that I think a lot of people don't know about is his relationship with the great Sam Jones in basketball. Charlie's relationship with Sam was real special. I mean, people really didn't get to know the real behind the doors with Sam, but Sam was a special guy. I was talking to somebody about the other day, is that I remember Sam told me about the 11 rings with the Celtics and how tough it was to play in Boston. Because of all the different racial stuff he had to go through during the years that, the Celtics kept it quiet, but it was big to the players, him and Bill Russell. And I had the luxury through Charlie to sit down one day with him, Bill Russell, and Sam and talk about it. And that's a story within a story if they both were still alive, because it really brought out stuff that a lot of people didn't know about, but they were willing to tell people like Charlie, because they trusted Charlie's knowledge and keeping it to himself and being respect for Charlie that they had, but Charlie's respect for them. But those are the kind of things that Charlie was able to bring out when he talked to a lot of different people out there. So, what you guys are doing tonight, Johnnie and Steve and Rock, it's legendary, man, because everybody's got Charlie Neal stories. There's nobody who doesn't have a Charlie Neal story if they knew Charlie. Because of his pedigree, and I think that, you guys honoring him tonight, I'm trying to get, and I'm probably going to pull it off myself now. I was trying to get the Black College Football Foundation to name a broadcast award in his name. They did not want to do it. They wanted to keep it strictly sports. So I'm going to probably do it on the HBCU side where we come up with some kind of scholarship in Charlie's name, that HBCU Go will do to honor a young person who is trying to get in the business and really hopefully have another Charlie Neal down the road, like a James Hadnot that can get mentored and really be somebody special down the road. But he's owed that for what he's done. And you guys have all talked about all the relationships that he's built over the years.
Hey, guys, we have a very important person that's about to come up, and you guys can let me know whenever you guys are ready to have it. He's probably a guy that doesn't have a lot of time on his hands. Well,
he's a Hall of Famer. That's why he's a Hall of Famer coming in. When you're a Hall of Famer, you don't have a lot of time.
No, so whenever y'all ready, or let me let his camera get together first, and then I'll bring him up. But let me ask this: someone who is not as familiar with, I'm quite familiar with Charlie Neal, the broadcaster, right? But what kind of impact in relationship did he have with a university or a school or someone like that? So maybe there is someone who could have a Charlie Neal Broadcasting Center or something like that at their school. Was there a school that he had a special relationship with? I know Flood mentioned that he was a Villanova alumnus, but is there a school that he had a relationship with?
I don't think he had a particular school, but I think the HBCU schools that will jump all over it if we throw it out there, because of, like Willie Totten said, just what he did for so many different schools, in the exposure and the way he talked about different athletes. I think that we'll find out very soon. Will there be a school to step up and say, I want to create a Charlie Neal Broadcasting Center? And I think a school will step up and say it, but he didn't have one that he really took in by himself and really did a lot with on his own rock. He was basically very, virtual as far as the different universities he dealt with. He was just a black college sports guy, bottom line. I think that's the way I say it. But I think when I make this announcement on doing a scholarship award in his name, somebody will step up soon and we'll have something like that.
Yeah, we want to make sure that we're a part of that, so we could make sure our audience get a chance if they want to donate some money as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get Jody to, instead of trying to put the flowers in, I'm trying to get Jody, his wife, to create a Charlie Neal Foundation, and people donate money to support. Charlie had a very rare disease that we try to keep it quiet because we didn't want a lot of people knowing exactly what was going on. But Charlie's had what they call a frozen heart, and that's where your arteries are not sending blood to your heart. That's a very rare disease. It happens in black men more than anybody, but it's a very rare disease. And so I'm trying to see if we can maybe come up with some kind of, just like you come up with the Jimmy V Foundation, we come up with a Charlie Neal Foundation, and we figure out a way in which we all can figure out how to support it down the road. So look to hear more about it down the road.
The Charlie Neal Classic. The Charlie Neal Classic. We have to kick off the season at the Charlie Neal Classic.
Well, that's what I was saying to my guys. Instead of the SWAC and MEAC Challenge, we could have the Charlie Neal Classic.
I think that's another one that is on my fingertips right now, Reggie. You're right on point on that one.
First game on HBCU Go, the Charlie Neal Classic. SWAC versus MEAC. The SIAC versus the CIAA, a doubleheader right there on HBCU Go. That's it. The Charlie Neal Classic.
I like that, Reggie.
Hey guys, I want to bring someone on who was a broadcast partner of Charlie Neal, and he is currently the head coach of Alabama State University. None other than the SWAC legend himself, Coach Eddie Robinson.
New Orleans finest.
Eddie.
How's it going, guys? How's it going, man? I've been listening in. You guys are doing a great job tonight, as always.
Good to see you, Eddie.
Hey, we are on our own page tonight. From here on out, Coach Robinson. So we definitely are trying to stand on our own feet, man. But we have greats like you and Flood, and of course, Mr. Simon. Man, look, I was watching the game, and it was Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, and the game went back and forth. And next thing you know, I said, man, that sounds like Eddie Robinson, who's with the great. Man, tell us your half on Charlie. I know you guys called a couple of games together.
Yeah, man, kind of like we were talking the other night, Johnny, is a lot of great Charlie Neal stories, man. I guess, my remembrance of Charlie Neal goes back to probably my freshman year in college when BET came on campus. We was playing Jackson State, and that's when, Jackson State W.C. Gordon, they had won like 20 straight SWAC games. So they was some monsters, right? So we ran a fake punt and scored early, and then they beat us 28-7. But it was but Charlie, that was like my first introduction to like Charlie Neal and Lem Barney and just the excitement of BET coming to campus. I mean, back then it was like college game day. I mean, we talked about it, was excited. So covered games. I mean, he covered me when I was playing, and once I finished playing, I didn't, as you finish that NFL career, I started to do just some local stuff in Atlanta when I was living. And then Kurt called me. It was like, I don't know if I called them or them called me, but some kind of way, Alabama State was playing in Detroit for Labor Day and for the Detroit Classic. And so, and I had been on the air just locally, in the evening times after the Falcons games, and I would just talk about the NFL, season and the game and stuff like that. But it was pretty much scripted. Like, you knew what you were going to talk about. The games already happened, so it was pretty easy TV in my mind. So, and I had never did color broadcasting. So I get on there, and it's Charlie Neal and Lem Barney and me, right? So we come up in the first half, and I think they said, well, right after the halftime, Eddie, we're gonna have you come in, and so I'm like, all right, here's it. I'm ready to go. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say, and the game's going. And so they had a pause in the action or something, and Charlie said, and we have a guest coming on, Eddie Robinson, former NFL great with Alabama State and the Houston Oilers, da-da-da. So, Eddie, what you think about it, man? So, Johnny, I just totally froze, man. I said nothing, right? So I just looked on the camera, and then Charlie picked me up, man. He kept talking nice and smooth, so probably nobody noticed it. But and I think Lem might have hit my leg. Said, you first time? I was like, yeah, man, first time. But as I went on, man, I tell you, I did my the first ever ESPNU game when they first launched the network was in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was a Morehouse game on a Thursday night. Nobody really wanted to do the Thursday night games. Everybody wanted to play on Saturday, including the big schools. So ESPNU was trying to get schools to play on Thursday night. And Charlie and I called that first game on ESPNU. Denzel Washington's son was the running back, and Denzel Washington himself was on the sideline. So it was a pretty memorable moment. And I can go on and on with Charlie Neal stories, but just a great guy, man, just a classy guy. Reached out to me as a guy who had, I was a chemistry major, so I didn't have a broadcasting background. So I was really just winging it. I was just, on there trying to talk as fast as Charlie talked, which was always a mistake. And he was real smooth. And first year, so I was mumbling and bumbling. And hey, man, just slow it down. You're going to be okay. Always kept me encouraged and always gave me good, positive feedback, even when I probably wasn't doing a very good job. And so, but he's one of those guys that he's truly a legend. And I think, having either a Charlie Neal Classic or a Charlie Neal Broadcasting School, we have to have a Charlie Neal something, man, so the young guys can really remember the legend of Charlie Neal. And I enjoyed him calling our games with HBCU Go. It's just always great to see him and hear him, and we're definitely going to miss him.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Eddie, coming on, man. And, I can't say enough about listening to y'all too. You guys seem like y'all gel so much, and probably, because he was able to fill the holes, you know what I mean? And
yeah, he had stories on top of stories on top of stories. I tell you one funny one. He would always joke me about this. So we're doing a Jackson State game. Probably was their homecoming, probably late October, middle of October. So you go out there on Friday, we go out to the walkthrough. Comegys was the coach, right? So we're talking, man, it's like 75, you got on a nice polo shirt. It's a beautiful day. And then all of a sudden the fall weather just kicked in. So the next day, it went from 75 to like 35. It was amazing, right? So and the wind was howling. If you ever been into the press box at the vet way up top, it was totally open and exposed. And so the wind started blowing. It got colder and colder. So nobody expected this. All I had on my regular suit coat. And then by the end of the third quarter, I'm so cold, my teeth are chattering. I said, Charlie, I can't talk. I can't talk. So I couldn't say anything else the rest of the fourth quarter. Charlie just took it away and just finished out the whole game. And I had a couple of, that was a great play right there. And that's all I could say. So, but man, Charlie, I mean, if you ever had a loss for words, he had your back. He had something to talk about. If it was a blowout game, whatever, he was always the guy that could feel forever and ever and ever. So just because he's been around so long, he knew everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Charlie Neal in a blowout was the best. He's literally the best. Charlie Neal in a blowout as a broadcaster, that's when you really get to see where your chops are. Charlie Neal in a blowout was great. He would give you all kinds of information that you never even thought you needed before. Wow.
Yeah, he would name old guys that he interviewed, and kind of like you guys were talking about him talking with Jesse Jackson. Is like his face card was incredible. It's like, people tell you it's not what you know or who you know, it's who know you. And everybody knew Charlie Neal. Like he could get in to any game. And so and I had this thing, and I kind of got my confidence and my swagger from about it with Charlie Neal. I felt like if I go to any HBCU game, because sometimes you get the passes from the school, sometimes you wouldn't. I don't care, Florida Classic, Bayou Classic, whatever. If I show up with a suit and an ESPN lapel pin, I should be able to get into that game, right? So that I still feel that way today, right? Because you just got to have confidence about, hey, I'm here. So Charlie Neal got into every game. And so I remember one time I'm standing outside talking to some Qs, and they, hey, what's up, team? What's up, bro? What's up, bro? So Charlie walks on in. So then I try to walk in. Who are you? And I'm like, and I'm stuck outside. Neither one of us had a pass, but needless to say, Charlie's in the booth, sitting down in the truck, and it takes me like 15 minutes to convince them that I'm actually with ESPN, but Charlie had no problem walking on in. So I said, Charlie, from now on, I'm going to stay close to you, my man.
That's right. Well, you know what, the funny thing about that, Eddie, the other key that Charlie did, Charlie knew about every state trooper in every city.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, believe me, there was many times when at the Circle City Classic, where we had to stand sometimes in Indianapolis, that place would be so packed up. He was always escorting him and Lem through either the sheriffs or somebody. I mean, he walked in and he knew guys right through the well. Oh yeah, Charlie got the patrol car picking him up. He taking the hotel. They're gonna take him to the game. He's well taken care of. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And he was special about that. He was
Yeah, then we would do the games when we would have the Norfolk or the Hampton game, and he would ride down on a motorcycle smoking a cigarette. So
So that's one thing that Neal would say, that Charlie always wanted to drive. He wouldn't let nobody drive him.
No, he always wanted to drive.
Even in the 70s, he was still y'all getting about, I'm driving.
Yep. Well, he knew all of the roads and the shortcuts. I mean, I'm sure he's been to every HBCU school or stadium or classic or game or whatever there could be. So
that's why he wasn't phased when you talking about being up in the box, because he's been in so many boxes where there ain't no cover. It's just him and somebody else's box. Ain't no cover at all. He's out there, and his code is stink out there. Believe me. In the old ESPN and the old BT days, there was stadiums, boy, back in the day, boy.
Tell me this.
You did not want to be in that box. You better have a serious jacket on.
Broadcasting on top of Magnolia, the press box at Magnolia Stadium in Italy, Mississippi.
Valley box is wooden. It's
right.
It's better now, but back in those days, you couldn't broadcast inside. You had to broadcast on top of.
On top.
No, you're right. You're right. There was a lot of stadiums like that.
Yeah, tell me this, guys. Why you think that, and you probably had more intimate conversation with, why you just didn't think that he just could have took off and went to the NFL and stayed up there and never reached back? Was it because of the connection, or was it because of racism? Was it because of it was just his choice totally? But he always stayed in the B2 realm.
I think it was more of his choice. I mean, when Bob Johnson gave him the door in 1980, that was 8 years before me. That you come up through that grind where it started out really just Bob Johnson and him interviewing sports athletes for a minute, and then like Lou was saying, not only were they interviewing because of we didn't have a lot of talent, a lot of money at that time. They were doing everything. And I think Charlie enjoyed that. He enjoyed that to where he was able to do whatever he wanted to really do and take advantage of that. And that's the one kind of advantage when you're with a startup. He's at HBCU Go. He comes in. He's my John Madden. So any talent that comes through, like James Haddon I was talking about, they got to come through Charlie. If Charlie stamps it, then I'm going to look at him. If Charlie ain't stamping him, I'm not looking at him. Bottom line. So Charlie called me and said, hey, I just ran into this young lady, Lorenza Moten. I think she'd be a good sideline person. I think she'd be good for us, Curtis. Okay, Charlie stamp it. That's what it was. I think he liked that environment. And I think it goes back to what everybody said tonight, and Eddie was just saying it right, is that he had that touch. He had that touch. Yeah. And that people liked about Charlie. And one who traveled with him a lot and still was traveling with him, he was a rock star. He could go anywhere, take him into any restaurant, any place in the country. Somebody knew that was Charlie Neal. Somebody.
Yeah.
And they would come up and say, Mr. Neal, can I get an autograph? Or Mr. Neal, I remember hearing you on such. And him being a genuine guy, he would feel that, wait a minute. Don't I know your mother or uncle or somebody like that? What's the last name again? Oh, yeah. And he could just connect the dots like in a second. I mean, that's just how good he was.
Yeah.
And he did that all the way to where he is today. God bless him.
Hey, Curtis, did he have a favorite school?
I think that.
The one that's winning in that season.
You Johnny's probably right about it. He didn't really have a favorite school, I don't think. He just enjoyed the environment because he knew everybody in the circle from every conference. Charlie had a relationship with every coach, football, basketball, track and field. He knew it. He knew everybody. And so he was very versatile in how he dealt in the circle. And it goes back to Johnny's question about why did he go bigger? But you got to remember, Charlie did jump off into NBC for a minute. He did jump off into ESPN.
Yeah.
I was there at ESPN. I was doing consulting when him and Eddie did the game. I remember that game distinctly, the Morehouse game, because I told ESPN because of our BT life before that game. I said, listen, Morehouse don't have no lights. You're going to bring lights in. They ain't got no lights. No, Curtis, they got lights. I said, okay, go do a site survey and tell me what I'm right or wrong. Guy called me back 2 hours later talking about, damn, man, I went to Atlanta. You were right, man. We gotta bring in lights. I'm like, yeah, you gonna have to make Morehouse don't have it. Ain't set up like that, You got to create that environment. So I think
was he able to do one of your games as a coach?
Yes, he did. He did. I know it was a Bethune-Cookman game. He did at least about 2 or 3 of them over the last couple of years, which was.
We just, but Eddie got that big quarterback that he got coming back. Andrew Biden, that's my guy. I like that guy.
Yeah, he gonna be
me too.
I think you do.
hey, Eddie just got to get him through a season. That's all.
Yeah, we got to keep him healthy.
We'll keep him up, right?
A little story of how connected HBCU sports and how connected HBCUs are. E-Rob's father owns a security company here in New Orleans who sponsored my radio show years ago on air in New Orleans. That's how connected we are. That's how connected.
That's nice. That's
absolutely.
That's right.
But now I think and kind of like Kurt was saying, I think with Charlie, sometimes you got to be a star in your role. And I think Charlie truly exemplified being a star in his role because everybody, like big time is or at the next level. And I tell college kids that, like, so you want to be here. And it's funny you guys bring up Andrew Body. He's a perfect example. Like you have a chance to be one of the best HBCU players, ever and get into the SWAC Hall of Fame, the Alabama State Hall of Fame, Black College Football Hall of Fame, based on you staying one more year, or you can go somewhere else, play 1 year, and maybe they remember you, maybe they don't. And I think, that's how Charlie was. And I think we're looking at, ESPN and that type of thing now, but in the 80s and 90s, BET in the Black community was just as important as ESPN, if not bigger. And so it's like staying at BET wasn't like a step down. And so and I think he was right at the level that he wanted to be at and excelled at that level. And like I said, man, his face card was impeccable. Charlie could go anywhere on any campus. And I think when me calling games with him, you know, of course, when I was calling the Alabama State game, I was biased. Like I was pseudo rooting for Alabama State and trying not to be very obvious with it, right? But Charlie, it was one of those situations he could never lose because he was friends with both coaches. He had friends on both sidelines. He probably knew both presidents. So he was just calling the game out of pure excitement and fun. And either way, he probably felt pretty good for the guy that won and felt sorry for the guy that lost. So he was truly like every school. I don't think he had a favorite school or conference. He just liked calling a good game, you know.
Well, I think Eddie, you said it right. I mean, the one thing we talked about when we got going with HBCU Go was that we had to create an environment that we wanted people to really come to. And back to your words, you know, I was shocked back in '88 when I came to BT, and that, you know, we started off when I came in there in '88 is that no one knew the brand well. You know, the only thing people had barely heard about was Video Soul with Johnnie. That was about the only thing. But then as we created more with HBCU Go Sports, and Charlie and Lem just became, as Eddie was just saying, we became a household name. Yes. And we were competing very strongly with the big boys, big time. Right. You know, and then back in that day, BET was doing a lot of classics, you know, because we had our hands on ESPN, wasn't even messing with it at that time. So we had our hands on a lot of the State Farms and Magic City and all the other stuff. So we were popping up all the time, you know, and doing that. And it's like many players ended up, by young people watching BT, end up going to HBCU schools. And that was the beauty of it. And you could talk to many guys who said, I heard that voice, and that voice helped me decide on where I wanted to go. You know, and I think that's really the beauty of what Black College Sports and through Charlie has really been able to drive home at the end of the day.
Can I jump in? It was Coach Robinson, you said something that was really great about just his professionalism and the networking. You know, I teach students in broadcast journalism now. You know, I teach them, you know, about the core ethics of journalism, right? And, you know, how you have to be accurate, but you also have to show humanity. And you also have to know that your skills may pay your bills, but your network will get you work. And Charlie Neal knew how to network. When I tell you that he knew, and it was all on his dome, it was no notes. Like Curtis said, he had everything in his head, that it was almost like the greats. You just want to sit down and talk to them and soak up everything that he has, because his knowledge and his wit was just tremendous. I mean, Charlie Neal was so special to so many people that it is hard to put into words the breadth and depth of what he's meant to so many people. And that's why I'm so glad we're having this conversation, because you have coaches, you have broadcasters that are all coming together, all because, you know, and I don't think it's like hard to be universally liked by everybody. Like there's somebody, but you know, you just don't mess with, and you know their attitude and this and this and that. Charlie had so much respect that everybody admired him and everybody had something good to say. And I think, Reggie, you said it. I don't think people realize about, you know, the motorcycle officer. Like, I mean, this guy, I mean, this man, I mean, yeah. I mean, he was a motorcycle officer in the Arlington County.
That was his thing on Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
Hair used to go back in the slick hair. Did he used to?
We said the same thing about the legendary Jim Vance, that was a broadcaster here in the Washington, D.C. area on Channel 4. Just the stuff that he did off, that he was cool. Charlie made sports cool, right? Yes. And again, like I said, all the gentlemen on here, when Charlie Neal showed up at the spot, you had arrived as an athlete. You had arrived as a broadcaster. It legitimized who you were because of his presence, and the fact that he didn't he wasn't arrogant or pompous about it. He really, I mean, truly wanted to see all of us succeed.
Yeah.
Right? He wanted to raise all the boats because he knew that he had a tremendous calling on his life. He knew it. And he wanted to make sure that he got as many people inside the club as possible, right? Because he was there, but he wanted to make sure everybody got in the club. And he didn't care. And the fact that the MEAC and the CIAA and the Black College Hall of Fame all have him in the Hall of Fame, I mean, that's a testament to just the organizations and the people that he touched. So again, listening to these,
we got one last one. We got to get him in. He's on the SISC.
Yeah,
and I told Holloman he's got to put him in this year.
Yeah, and so I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with all the what can we do to keep Charlie Neal's legacy going on, as far as maybe not just the game, but symposiums. I am actually going to mention it to the people when we celebrate Black excellence at the NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalism convention in Atlanta this summer. Curtis, you can help me with that, how we can do something to honor him while we're down there, because he, the gold standard of Black excellence in journalism. Black excellence in journalism.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lou. Yeah, I definitely help out with that.
I think the biggest compliment for me being a Louisiana guy for Mr. Neal is that Mr. Neal could get a plate at anybody's tailgate in Louisiana. He could get a plate at anybody's tailgate. All he had to do was walk up, and they would tell him to sit down, and everybody would serve him.
Yes, that is very true, Reggie.
When I won my championship, it was two things: one, taking TSU for the first time, and number two, having Charlie Neal call the game. Hey, after the game, and hell, I kissed him. I said, "It's like I'm going to Disney World." That's kind of how I felt, man, because I've been following this man for 40 years since I knew anything about HBCU at all. Because I'm from the North. We know it, but man, I tell you, it was just that euphoria of this giant to me, man. I know why, because his voice was just unbelievable, man. His knowledge of the game, his smoothness, his strength, how he could pivot, how he could take a boring game and make it a great game. You know what I mean? He even had some coaching points. And a lot of times, play-by-play guys just call the game and they don't know the game. Shit, Charlie knew the game. He knew the game. So that made it very interesting every time I would hear him broadcast games.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Charlie Neal and Lim Barney, man, I think we were pretty much raised on them, and Charlie being the straight man, Lim kind of being, being the relief. Lim never being the
free. You had a camera in that box. You wouldn't want that camera in that box because Lim was Lim. Lim
was Lim, and Lim was never afraid to tell you how great he was, and Charlie was never afraid to back Lim up on how great Lim was.
I think the biggest thing when I came to BT that used to always amaze me is that Lim and Charlie used to outdress each other. He could wear the best outfits come game day, and they would come up with some serious costumes. Lim came in one game. He had shorts on with a suit jacket because you couldn't see the shorts because all you're doing is shooting the top. But right. The full Lim outfit, Lim had high socks like he was in London. Bermuda shorts on with a blazer and tie.
Oh yeah, he was rocking it. True Detroit players. Detroit players was meant for them.
All the way. Lim was a piece of work. Lim was a piece of work.
Hey guys, I think Jody, Charlie's wife, is either watching or got some information, but I got to read this. It says, Jody, hey, this is Anthony Holloman. I wanted to send you my deepest sympathy and condolences for your loss. Charlie was a legend and a pioneer in the sports world, but an even better person. So I feel lucky to have known him and call him a friend and mentor. Finally, I will announce at the CIAC Football Media Day that Charlie Neal will be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the next class that will go in at the basketball tournament in Atlanta.
Beautiful.
I'll be praying for you, Anthony.
Beautiful. Wow. I'm glad he made the move. I was pushing hard at him. I'm glad he made the move.
Hey, you the man that knows, Mr. Simon.
Hey, man, I'm just trying to help out, brother. You know, when somebody is opening the door, man, you just try to help to close it. You know, that's all you try to do, man.
Hey, Rocky. Hey, Mr. Simon is being really humble right now. He does, and I have to give him his flowers. Like they said, we giving Charlie his flowers, but I have to give Mr. Symonds his flowers because none of us would be talking about BET if it wasn't for Curtis Symonds.
Right.
None of us. I mean, Bob Johnson.
I appreciate that, Reggie.
Who just recently got inducted into the Cable Hall of Fame himself.
That's right. Bob Johnson was the kind of but this man, he put the program and he put the faces there. He put BET. He is BET. Right. You know.
That's right.
And listen, on a personal note, I just want to thank Jody for sharing Charlie with the world. You know,
that's great.
You have to have a strong mate to, because Charlie traveled. I mean, one thing I did traveling with Charlie Neal, he knew plane schedules. He knew how to fly out of places. He knew how to get into places. And I'm telling you, just watching him and his travel was an experience.
That's a show in itself. That's a show in itself.
Yeah. And Jody, you have to have a strong mate. When you're in this business, fellas, as we are, you have to have a strong partner that is going to let you be excellent in so many things, and you don't have to worry about stuff back home or things of that nature. And what Jody was able to do, sharing Charlie with the world, I just think needs to be commended to. If we're going to truly honor the legacy, we got to honor his support system as well.
Yeah, I think what we all have to do, man, is what we talked about it, is that we really need to step up. And as we discussed today, I think there's three things that we need to really follow through with. Number one is we figure out a way to do a Charlie Neal Broadcaster Award down the road as a scholarship in Charlie's name. Number two, as Reggie made it, it's my job to work on putting together a Charlie Neal Classic, where we can try to feature a big time like Alabama State against somebody, to kick it off, whatever. But we need to open that door.
I think that's a great choice, Alabama State.
That's what I thought. I thought you'd go with me on that, Eddie. But I mean, I think that I'm very serious about this, gang. I think that we have to continue the legacy. I don't want this name to fall down.
No.
Because he's meant so much, so many people, and the young people that have not heard his name need to hear his name,
right?
And what he's done, because it was like when Johnnie was asking why didn't he step off, because he believed in the product, right. And when you get people that believe in the product, that's why HBCU are strong as they are today. We just need to continue to keep talking about it so that people can understand, as Eddie mentioned, where BT was, where it was the network everybody was going to. I want everybody to come to HBCU Go. And I'm selfish. I want everybody to come to HBCU Go because we want to be the network telling the real story about HBCUs across the board, not just in sports, lifestyle, education, the culture. I'm coming out with a new theme this year that I think is big, and is that I want people to think about us like HBCU Go. The culture is calling, because the culture is how we're driving this thing. And we need to really, really home in on the culture of HBCUs and put ourselves in the driver's seat and ride it to the gates. Bottom line.
No, ain't no question that we gotta take care of ourselves with how the world is moving now. Most definitely that I think HBCU Go, SWAC TV. I think you can't ask for that, and we got to support it though. The people. These podcasts, we got to pitch in, we got to support it, and we got to make sure. I know HBCU Go. I've been in the organization. You guys are doing it the right way, and SWAC TV is on the way. Got great people like Flood calling the games, man. I think we're moving in the right direction, and we got to just hold the line. Hold the line, man, and really, either push ESPN out or make sure they paying us the right kind of money.
Bottom line.
Nickels and dimes. You know what I'm saying?
Bottom line.
And it's about the dollars. It's about if the SEC can do it, the ACC, man, our product is different, even though the game field is 100 yards long and 53 yards wide, but it ain't nothing like our bands. It ain't nothing about like the pageantry. And it's for us and it's about us. So I really think that we really need to stick together on this and keep preaching the same tune.
I agree. And especially with HBCU Go, SWAC TV, but HBCU Go and the way that we cover games on there, the fact that it covers the entire HBCU experience. It's just not about the football. It's about zero quarter. It's about the football. It's about the band and halftime. It's about the queens and the kings. It's about everything that goes on around HBCU athletics and HBCU universities that makes HBCU Go special and SWAC TV special. And I think we can only do that because we are part of that and it's a part of us. So I think we definitely have to protect that and keep striving and moving forward with that.
Yeah. And Curtis, can I throw in one more thing as we are throwing that out? I mean, some of my favorite things on ESPN are those 30 for 30s. I mean, there should be a 30 for 30 on Charlie Neal. There needs to have some type of special that you all do for football before we start. There's got to be some type of special done to have all those names.
Yeah, let me give you the lay of the land for us is that my team is working on a open coming forward on a doc on Charlie, for the season, opening up the season. What I'm trying to get the team to look at down with that is we create a story that we can try to pitch to Netflix because I think this is worth a big time story. A series of talking about, because this isn't just a one-time show. This is something that's a series of things of how he touched, this whole community with what he did. Right. And no one's told the story, and I'm not going to let a white person tell the story. So I'm going to tell the story. My team is going to tell the story. So we're working on that, Lou, and you'll see something real soon. Talking about where we're coming from with Charlie.
Definitely, I'd love to be involved with that. Love to be involved with that.
Is it? How can we get the dollars? Like the big schools with the TV packages. I've always thought of this, and I've said it every time, and I've been said it now for 3 years. You can't take our best football games, Alabama State, A&M, Jackson State, Alcorn, Texas Southern, Prairie View, Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, and put together a TV package, and we can't go sell that where when they hit that camera hit, it's going to be the crowd that's there. It's going to be the pageantry around the games every weekend, and we can't line that up.
Well, we've done that. We've done it. It's on HBCU Go. We've done that.
I think we're getting there, Johnny. The biggest problem that
I'm talking about getting them dollars. That's what
we getting at HBCU Go, man. That's the reason and I'm sorry to cut you off, Curtis, but the reason I get in on that is because a lot of times we look at something because it's for us, by us, we look at it as being secondary. HBCU Go has put up the money. They put the money where their mouth is. They put together great packages. You know what we need to do now? Not to look for another package. We need to be putting pressure on our schools and our commissioners to give HBCU Go our best games.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's the next step.
I love that, Reggie. I love
that. Well, that's still saying the same thing, and we just haven't done it, Coach. Even the MEAC to join them in and get them 2 or 3 of their best games.
Well, here's the biggest thing we got to work on down the road is that this is what I'm telling every commissioner now, and I'm talking. Number one is that, to Reggie's point, give us some of the best games out there. That we should have there, because we're not. We have 3 different packages. We have a syndication package going to put you on all the broadcast networks across the country. 96% of television households were covered with a syndicated package. We've got a cable package, which is our griot, which puts you in 57 million homes. and then we have a digital package with HBCU Go. So it's 3 ways you're watching us at the end of the day, and so the exposure is there. Now, what we got to drive more of is and this is really a lot on HBCU Go, but it's also along in our community. We got to market the product more. Okay, we got to drive people into the stadiums. I'm doing too many games where I don't have butts in the seats. Okay, and I got to have butts in the seats. When my boss looks at it and he's saying, "Wait a minute, Curtis, good game. We got 10 people in the city because everybody's out here tailgating." I got a new theory coming out that my executive assistant came up with. It says, it's going to be called, tailgate takeover. And the tailgate takeover is developing something to push that tailgate into the stadium. Because I got to get bodies. So the more I can show the bodies, then when I go to XYZ advertise, I'm saying, well, I got 25,000 people in the stadium at a 26,000 seat stadium. I don't have 10 people in the stadium. So, and I got all this atmosphere outside of here too going on.
Hey guys, man, I think y'all, everybody's, man, y'all are spot on with it. And so, as a football coach, definitely love all of the pageantry of HBCU football, but it's some really good football. So anything we doing to push the folks more into the stadium, I think you're right on with it, Kurt. And that just, and that's the biggest part of it, man. These student athletes out here, they're competing and the band and everybody else. But hey, I'm about to shut it down. Johnny C, I'm about to get on. But hey,
Rob,
great.
You are definitely swag, baby. Much love. You are definitely swag, Rob.
Be good, Eddie.
All right, Johnny, I catch up with you, man. Anything y'all need from me, just give me a call. You know that.
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate
Talking to you, Eddie.
But that's what I was just saying. Give up all the classic games. Give them up and sell a TV package. Just give
you gotta
because you can work. You can work with that. Because
you got to understand the behind the scenes. See, what happened is when you rewind 20 years back, and now we're in 2000s, is that the ESPN deal was very complicated with the conferences. And you got, the commissioners have changed hands. The previous commissioners did it just, I'm on ESPN. Let me sign the paper. Okay. Mm-hmm. Didn't read it real well. Right. And what happened is that the language in these contracts have got the conferences locked in. So HBCU Go to ESPN, we got to take the second picks.
Yeah.
The first pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
So that's what kind of stonewalls us a little bit right now. But what's happened is we've been putting some good quality to our games that has pushed ESPN on the HBCU side that they've got so much with SEC, Big Ten, all this other stuff that they're squeezing down the games. So now there's an opportunity for HBCU Go to get some of these better games. I think this year's schedule on City is a damn good schedule we got. I mean, we open up with North Carolina Central against Texas Southern at Texas Southern.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a game coming out the gates.
It really is.
So the more we can try to build on that. And see, I take the old philosophy when I was at ESPN. I was at ESPN and helped did the NFL contract. And I will never forget ABC, NBC, and CBS looked at ESPN back in that day and laughed at us and said, just give them some Sunday night stuff. They don't know what they're doing. ESPN marketed the stink out of those Sunday night games. And then the games turned out to be great games. Even though they look like nothing on paper, they turned out to be great games, which then the NFL started saying, whoa, wait a minute, we got something here. And we got to try to grow HBCU Go and SWAC TV the same kind of way. To where, HBCU Go has a certain amount of games, SWAC has a certain amount, and if we work together, which should be the goal, then we put the product on the table and people start saying, and SISA, CIAA, and MAC. Now people saying, well, wait a minute. This is a damn good product. But they haven't been able to see as much as they like of it. Okay? And they want to know where's the destination. Not like you're trying to figure it out every Saturday. No, it's coming on this time, blah, 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 blah. And you become a regular destination. But we got to start doing like with people's shows like you have here, Johnny, is really talking about our games, when the games are coming up, getting people involved. Because I'm seeing people texting me. I didn't realize so many people were watching me, but you got a lot of people watching you like where my phone's going off. So those are the kind of things that help us in the street. Right. And the more we can build the village, the better we're going to be. Because that's what BET was. I built the village. And so once I built the village, I had people coming looking for BET. Okay, we got to do the same thing with our product now. Okay. Build the village.
Mr. Symonds, one of the things, just from as a fan of HBCU sports, whatever, I think there's a gap in the economy around HBCU sports, meaning that there is not enough people telling the stories week to week to the mass audience. Like there are some huge games with some huge implications, really big impact, and our fan base has to depend on just the traditional matchups to kind of understand what the sport is. And sometimes those traditional matchups really don't have an impact on who playing championships, winners and losers, especially, in this day and age when you had a team like Prairie View end up winning it all in the SWAC and then playing the Celebration Bowl. I think if we could come up with a weekly show or something where we could have some prominent people in the HBCU space telling those stories about the games that are coming up each week, kind of like the same way that the NBA used to do it with the owner of one of the partners of HBCU Go, Brian Allen and Amar Rashad. I forget what that NBA show was called, but you know how they used to
was inside the NBA at one time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That exactly.
Yeah, we definitely need an insider show.
I mean, we give us a little time on that, Rock. We're 4 years in. I tell people all the time is that I wish we could say we could do everything that everybody wants us to do, but unfortunately, you got to pay the bills. That's where it comes down to.
And I feel there are some ways we can work together. Like we depend on HBCU Go to do all those things, but all of us could work together to provide that content for HBCU Go at a low cost, and that takes a lot of the pressure off of HBCU Go. I don't know any group of guys that knows more about HBCU sports than us sitting right here. Why couldn't we provide that content to HBCU Go in a partnership?
I agree. I mean, there's a sports reporter show right here. Right. Bottom line.
Well, look, I'm interested, because I'm interested in making sure that, when I leave the earth, man, it's HBCU sports is where every other school is. I get sick and tired of hearing, y'all don't have no shoes and holes in your uniform and helmets are different colors, which all that is a lie. All that's old school stuff, man. It's just time for a place and time, and we got greats, like yourself, Simon. That we got greats, man. We just got to put it together and work together. I think when we start working,
you said the magic word. Steve and I talked about it yesterday on his. Unfortunately, my Zoom is a lot better today than it was with Steve. It was popping out every 5 seconds with Steve, But I think that's the biggest thing is like when I got with Byron Allen, the biggest story I said to him was, I wanted to show America that two black men could get together and build something. Well, I'm gonna say this to you guys right here. I'd like you to look at how we build HBCU Go together. Bottom line. Okay? I can't do it without you. Bottom line, I can't do it without you. I need help. If you help me tell my story, it's going to help all of us at the end of the day. Because we can drive more buses in the seats, we can drive more revenue across the board.
Yep.
And that's the thing that I'm trying to get everyone to look at. Because as I keep telling advertisers every time I get in the advertising meeting, is that no one can tell the story better than we can.
That's right.
Bottom line, no one can tell the story better than we can. But we got to be put in that position to allow us to grow this. And that's really where, if you take out, when I saw Bill Rhoden's story about Charlie, I called him right away and said, "Yo, man, I'm glad you told this story the way it was." Because people didn't know, sports reporter on ESPN wasn't ESPN's thought. That was BT's thought. It's just we couldn't keep it alive at BT because we were too early. So we couldn't get the advertising support to keep the show alive. So then ESPN jumped in and created an ESPN Sports Report. And they had Disney and ABC behind them, so they didn't have no problems. And they were able to just blossom with it. But that show was truly created out of BT. Bottom line. And to show you how great we are, when I was at BT, I was the one that worked and got partnership with the NFL. We created a show for BET, NBA, Major League Football, Major League Baseball. We created partnerships that grew into shows, Emmy Women shows.
Yeah, maybe we can, I can call Curtis sometimes and actually give us some real directions on how we can, how we can do that. I know Flood and Rocky talks a lot. Lou, you're welcome to be a part of it. And I know the Bishop, he does a great job of getting the right information and just push it. I mean, we do it all for free anyway. We just love HBCU. You know what I'm saying?
I think the idea has been laid out when Mr. Simon talked about the tailgate special. I think each of us being at a game around the country, simulcasting at the tailgate, talking about the games and carrying that into the stadium, I think that's the show right there.
Yeah,
from the tailgate into the stadium, I think that's the show right there.
And we've done some things, like we got content from the Celebration Bowl at the Embassy Suites, and we've been talking about doing some of those things this week. So, I know we communicate with each other, man, and we put our nickels together and get where we get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, you look at, look in 2 weeks, you got the Black College Football Foundation Award thing in Atlanta in June, first week of June. Okay, you got the greats of the greats that show up for that thing, at least 30 to 40 of the greats. Okay, yeah. Why aren't we packaging up some stuff together to be able to talk about games coming on? Taking a alumni from the particular school, let them talk about a matchup some kind of way.
Yeah. We have
feature where.
Yeah. We got one on our calendar in June. We got the documentary on Tremaine Jackson, right?
Yeah.
And then we're trying to get into the SWAC Media Day as well.
That's a good move.
Yeah. So we got those on our two calendars, June and July. And then of course the either Labor Day Classic or opening up with North Carolina Central. So
I'm just saying, I'm not making any moves without Steve Campbell. So if Steve Campbell on board, then I'm on board. I'm not making any moves without Steve Campbell.
You gotta sip it. Listen.
Well, listen, I'm gonna say this, and I'll say this, and Mr. Symonds is something I'm gonna talk to. I am working on something really big, really big, to bring funding and packages to our schools. I'm really working on something big because Mr. Symonds said it best. The ideas are great, but you got to pay for them.
There it is.
And that's that I understand, and that's the thing about it. And Flood, like you say, and which we all do, it is a labor of love. But to be honest, and here's the thing that Mr. Symonds understand: you do a great job, and you, like you say, you want to have a tailgate, but the internet still costs. The light still costs.
Yeah, everything. You got to pay the bills. Nothing done without.
No question.
Yeah,
no question.
Nothing is done without paying the bills.
That I think that, to me, how we help is to make sure that we are doing anything possible to bring in those dollars to support HBCU Go, be it a different advertisers, sponsors, and things like that. Those are things that I'm thinking about because it's a new challenge, it's a new world out there now. We see it, and like I say, it all the way up to Congress and laws that are being passed. But the bottom line, nobody's gonna come save us. Nobody's gonna tell our stories.
No.
And I just want to say one thing. And one thing I just want to say, and I think that Lou said this about Charlie and the notes and things and all the stuff that he had. But here's what I'll say: what Charlie Neal did, he presented a football game like a baseball announcer. And I hope people understand what I mean that, because if you watch a baseball game, there are stories that are in between the balls and strikes.
Yeah.
And that was the greatness that Charlie Neal, because Flood, like you said, every school, he had a story that talked about that school and that history while the game was going on, which you see people in the chat talking about. I learned because I watched those games. The only thing I hate that I didn't get to ask Eddie about, because Eddie and I are the same age, that was a rite of passage. When you're 10, 11, 12 years old, go through high school and then get to go to college. And Eddie got to play and he called his games. I wanted to know how that felt, because for me, like I said, when you saw BET and you saw the game, and then being from Jackson, Lombardi, a Hall of Famer, again, breaking this down. This is just like Keith Jackson. This is like Vern Lundquist. This is like all those people that we had. And then again, for Mr. Symonds to bring that same feel and the quality. Because what I've always hoped is that, to your point, Mr. Symonds, that how the SEC had that 3:30 CBS game, that you knew that was the game. I just wish we were able to get it to where Mr. Symonds at HBCU go, like he said, the pick of the list, that and was just automatic 3:30. You knew that 3:30 and then a 7 o'clock at night, that was going to be the two biggest games at HBCU. Automatic. So I just wanted to just put that out there.
No, I think you're right on point, Steve. And I think we're getting there, Steve. We're getting there. We've been doing double headers and down the road, but we're getting there. It's a slow crawl. It's not as fast as everybody like to see it, but I think we're making some strides. I think the biggest thing to take away tonight, man, is that we all need to get some thought on how we work better together. That's to me is I can't work without you guys. You guys know the circuit. I've been around it, but you got good fingers out there in certain areas, that can help each other, and I think if we can finally take our egos off the table and say, listen, let's try to figure out how do we make this curtain rise and rise in a way where everybody eats at the end of the day. That's really key.
For sure. Hey, Coach Cole.
Yes.
I just need 2 minutes of the show for a minute to address something. Someone called me that needed some help, right? It was a young lady that wants to travel with her basketball team this summer, and she asked for some help. And so I helped. I'll show my phone. I sent some help. And I just, if you have it, there's nobody in the hospital. There's no little kids needing a heart transplant or anything like that. It's just a young lady needs some help so that when she travels with her basketball team this summer.
Volleyball team, I thought it was.
Volleyball
team, yeah.
Volleyball team. She can have what she needs along with the other little girls on the team. So if you have it in your heart and if you have it in your budget to send whatever you want to send, please send it over. And again, I want y'all to be respectful with this. This is somebody's phone number. So when you send it over, just send it over. And, if she asks who sent it, just tell her a friend of Rocky. You know what I mean? And that's enough. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity to do this because the person really needed some help. And sometimes when you need some help, especially for something like this, there's no reason to, create GoFundMe's and all that kind of stuff, or have her, doing things that she may be embarrassed to do. I'll do it I'll ask you guys to lend a helping hand if you can. You can do it via Apple Pay and Zelle, and that's the number. So I'll leave it up there a minute. Hey, and I'll type the number in the chat, and in case you missed it, and we can move on. Thank you, Coach Cole. I appreciate it. I know you. I promised someone I would do this, and I wanted to keep my word. My apologies, Coach.
Good job, Rob. I got to jump, gentlemen.
Me too.
It's been a great run. Johnnie,
yes,
Rob, Steve, keep in contact.
No problem.
Lou, good to see you. We'll talk soon, Lou.
Okay. All right.
See y'all later,
everybody. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank
Lou,
y'all.
man, for your time. We'll be talking.
Thank y'all. Talk to y'all later, man.
All right, Floyd.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh man, it's been great.
Hey, Coach. Since we got Lou on here, so Lou won't be biased when he hear this. Hey, Coach, I've been playing with that old Chat GPT and that AI, Coach. And I came up with a little something. Now, I want you to give me. Hey, and Lou, I want you to give me your opinion on it. Right? Give me your opinion, Lou. All right. Here goes.
HBCU Coaches Corner. Johnnie, JC, Cole in the building. Legendary coach. Let's go. Rocky Miller, rock on the mic. The Bishop Steve Campbell. Mr. Campbell. All right. We break down. to meet AA. Sunday talk, Monday facts. Bring the whole yard back. Southern. FAMU, PV Valley, Grambling, Jackson State, UAPB, Texas Southern, Alcorn, Bama State, A&M, we got the place. From the first whistle to the final score, we know the grind, and we give you more. Prairie View, TJ, South Carolina, Shannon, December in Atlanta, they play for it all. Legendary, Coaches Corner, tune in now. Coaches Corner, show us how. Coaches Corner, call it out. HBCU football, all about. Coaches Corner, ride that wave. Coaches Corner, game day great. From the yard to Atlanta stage, HBCU pride all the way.
What'd you think, Coach? What'd you think, Lou? So first, Lou. What'd you think, Lou?
Hip hop hooray! Ho, hey, ho! I felt like I was, wow! I felt I was part of the new Jack City soundtrack there. I thought I was. That's very, very nice. That's good. That is really. So you're gonna gussy that up with an open and have?
Yeah, we gonna try to do something, man.
I like that.
We're gonna try to do something.
Look, you buried the lead story. That's how you should have brought us in here, John. That's how you should have brought us in here 2 hours ago, John.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that's real good, man. It's catchy. It's what the again. I'm really interested, and to wrap this up before I leave. Charlie Neal. The traditional radio and the traditional television space. But Charlie Neal was also very, very instrumental in understanding the emerging media space as well, right? And what wasn't said that I do want to say behind the scenes is that Charlie Neal was very instrumental in picking every single game that was on HBCU Go. Like, he would sit down and schedule out all of these. And, you know, he knew that there was going to be IG, TikTok. There was going to be all these things, and he embraced that. He wanted the Laurencia Motons and the Nia Simones and all these people to be alongside to bring flavor. Like, Charlie Neal understood the emerging media. He understood. He would take time to show up on people's podcasts and their things of that nature. And I think that's where we're going now. Emerging media is where we're going. People aren't honestly, people are not watching television. They're not watching traditional television. They're getting their stuff on the apps, the Roku and the stuff like that. And so what this is doing, the stream yards and the catchy opens like you just had, that's very ahead of the game. I really, really, honestly, I appreciate that. It's catchy. It's what these kids, it's what the more seasoned generation. I watched when you played it. I watched Coach, JC. I saw him smile a little bit, like, all right. I mean, that's what it's all about. So kudos to you for thinking about that stuff. And you got to get these younger minds and stuff like that to help you with these efforts to make sure that they are hitting what these kids want to see. And that's what we can't always think that we are doing stuff that we want to see. We got to make sure that we are putting products on that they want to see. We are presenting sports in a way that they want to embrace. So I like what you're doing there. I like what you're doing there. I think we need to. You need to put some polishing touches on that. Quick, fast, in a hurry.
All right.
Quick, fast, in a hurry. I like that.
Well, we gotta make sure we bring you back on the show, Lou. I love to anytime because this is big for me. Again, I went to a PWI. I went to Rutgers and Temple, but my whole existence, is part of HBCU Go. My Howard University gave my mother
chance, a Jamaican immigrant, to come up here and get educated. And I was born on the campus of Howard University, Freeman's Hospital. My son ran track at Howard. My wife went to Hampton. My daughter's graduating from Bowie State in 3 days. Wow. In 3 days, she's graduating from Bowie State.
Congratulations.
So, thank you so much. So HBCU means a lot to me. I think that the stories are being told, the efforts that are being made are really, really significant. And Coach, guys, anytime you need me to come on, anytime I can use my platform to help yours, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We can't be crabs in a barrel that I get yours and you got to get yours by yourself, whatever. We need to do it together. And we need to be able to help each other out and give of our talents to help all the ships rise. And so when I mean that, Coach, sharing that game that we did together in Atlanta, in South Carolina was just it changed me for a while, because I saw how, listen, guys, Coach knows how to work a room too.
Hey, Lou, were you the guy that had to teach him how to use the Telestrator?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. But you know what? We figured it out, because it was we did our first game together, and it was right after a huge weather event. Like, we couldn't fly into our destination. We had to fly into other places and drive to the game. I mean, it was a challenging experience. But again, it's the professionalism and what we saw Charlie Neal do over and over and over again that made us, create memories. And so Johnny's better for the experience. I'm better for the experience. And again, it wasn't just the James Hadnots and the younger people that are just coming out of school. It was the more seasoned people that were coming out of coaching careers and people who already had awards, that Charlie saw people in that as well. And he just knew how to put people together. Like, he knew how to mastermind. He was like that conductor, that maestro, that he had everything going on, and he knew how to orchestrate it. And I think everybody sitting here is a byproduct of the work and the toil that Charlie Neal and Curtis Symonds and we sit on this on the shoulders of these people, and it's important that we give the people their flowers like we can, like we did with Curtis, but never forget the ones that have passed on. So again, I can't thank you all enough for allowing me. I mean, it didn't even seem like 2 hours. It just felt like a good conversation with a bunch of boys just hanging out, and I really, really appreciate it. This made my day. Hey,
Lou, let me say one thing before you leave. I just want to let you know something. When you cut a check to an HBCU and you marry somebody from HBCU, brother, you HBCU now. So you all right. You all right. You all right. When you cut a check and marry it, in the great words of my boy E-Rob, you swag now. You swag.
You're
on
me.
It
don't
matter. You ain't Thank you, because listen, my money has gone to multiple.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So don't ever tell you that you ain't. So you are honorary now, baby.
Thank you. And my mother said if I went to school at Howard, I have some honorary credits because I was in the womb when she was taking her pharmacy classes.
100%.
Right.
Thanks, fellas. I really appreciate the time. And Coach, I mean it. Anytime you need me, just let me know, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Y'all be blessed. All right.
You too.
Man,
that was dope. That was dope, Coach. Coach, you always come through, man. You always come through. When you ask, you have so many people that come through and support, man. Yeah. I'm just privileged to be on the show with you, man.
Man, I can't do it without you too, man. It ain't just me. I just come up with the ideals, and Bishop come up and dig deep and get the information. And of course, you come with the great. I mean, we're a team, man. Hey, like I told Bishop today, I'm a third, you're a third, and you're a third. A third, But I want to also announce that will be getting married on Sunday.
Hey, let me get some. Hey, Coach, what will your last name be after you get married, Coach?
Hey, my last name, you better call her last name. Hey, I want to tell Bishop, hey, Bishop, she's officially going to be a wife, so you might hear some pots and pans. So I mean, you always say, man, you cooking back there.
Hey, no, listen, let me tell you what's so funny, man. And congratulations to you, Coach. We're really happy for you and stuff like that. And let me tell you something about a good wife. She always going to make sure you tight. So I'm not going to worry about that. You're going to be good.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Coach, man. And I look forward to our season coming up. We still got some other things happening this summer. We've been, I think Simon kind of gave us some homework.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that made me feel, we might need to put our heads together. And with what you trying to do, Campbell, when that thing gets straight, we might can, make some things happen. And maybe they might have a couple chips that they can help us get some places. You know what I mean? Because if the money is the issue, if we don't do this for money, we do this for the love of HBCUs. You know what I mean? So let's look at that, man, and let's come up with some ideals and let's go from there.
I'm with it. I'm with
it.
Hey, Coach, you gonna take us out?
Man, I thought we was gonna hear that one more time from Coach.
Hey, Coach, we can play it. Hey, Coach, we definitely can play it again. I want him to see. I got my man Crooks. Crooks is a critic, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, we need critics sometime.
Yeah.
Johnnie, JC, Cole in the building. Legendary coach. Let's go. The Bishop Steve Campbell, Mr. Campbell. All right. We break down the swag. We break down the meat. Sunday talk, Monday facts. Bring the whole yard back. Southern. FAMU, PV Valley, Grambling, Jackson State, UAPB, Texas Southern, Alcorn, Bama State. A&M, we got the plays from the first whistle to the final score. We know the grind, and we give you more. Prairie Beauty, Jack, South Carolina, Janisbury, December in Atlanta, they play for it all. Legendary, Coaches Corner, tune in now. Coaches Corner, show us how. Coaches Corner, call it out. HBCU football, all about. Coaches Corner, ride that way. Coaches Corner,
I like that. Hey, can we let Charlie Neal take it out for us, Coach? And
Wait, Rocky, real quick though. Hey, I gotta agree with. Hey, I'm gonna be honest, I do love it, but Rocky, I ain't gonna lie, it do feel one of them 90 sitcoms when the guy when they turn their hair like that.
Yeah. I was looking for the different world / Cosby Fresh Prince. You know what I mean?
You know, he turn in. That's the Bishop.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
Oh man, hey, look at here, man.
Put the Charlie Neal on, Coach, and let him close us out, Coach. And then we'll be out.
Football championship game between the Alabama State Hornets and the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern is looking for their first SWAC championship since 1968. And just moments ago, Texas Southern head coach Johnnie Cole addressed his team.
Hey, Coach. Now the rest of this clip, we're gonna play the video at some point. I'm gonna get Steve to play the entire video at some point because after he does that, he takes you in the locker room, and Coach, you taking off your clothes in the locker room, Coach. What I mean by it, you had a jersey on and everything, Coach. Was you supposed to go out there and play? What you had a jersey on for, Coach?
Well, this was the serious. Of course, you guys know we was on the NCAA investigation, and they took our quarterback away for the game. You know, I don't know why it was just the quarterback. I don't know what and why I was behind that. right? But it didn't happen until the week of the game. You know what I mean? Again, I don't know why we wait or why only the quarterback was punished for it. So what I done was we took the kid with us, and I put his jersey underneath my polo shirt. And as you can see, when I was talking with the team, you know, I had to do something to fire them up. Not only did I buy them black jerseys for the championship game, that's when I came out and I say, in the service, when they fight on the Army, you know, nobody is left behind, whether you're alive or dead. And I pulled off and I had his jersey on. So, so the kids went crazy, man.
Oh yeah, coach. They went nuts, coach.
And I see,
I watched a lot of the game today, coach. And I'm gonna tell you, I wasn't impressed as an offensive coordinator, coach. But that defense was hell on wheels.
Well, this is what happened. I mean, we playing a first-time quarterback in the championship game.
See, I didn't even know that. I didn't realize that watching the game.
He really didn't understand the calls. And then what he did on his own was he changed our audible. Our audible was either odd or even, orange, or, you know, something right or left, right? He went out there and told him it was chicken and gumbo. Now, chicken nor gumbo got an R in it or an L. So guys, this is crazy. This is true story. So I'm watching the game because I'm wondering why because if you've seen the game, we opened the game up and went right down and scored on them.
Yep.
Right? So I'm looking at the film. I'm like, well, why is the offensive line going that way and the back is going that way? So I'm asking, and I get with a couple players. I'm like, well, what was happening? They said, Coach, you know he changed the right and left call. I said, well, what was the call? Chicken and gumbo. So you had guys that were on the offensive line actually running in each other. They were running in each other because Melvin Spears was on the other side, right? Him and another Coach Green that I had to let go the year before. So they were trying to call out what we were doing. To me, I didn't care. It was whatever front or defense in, that's where we're going to run the ball to. And my quarterback changed. And here's the other kicker. He was the MVP of the game. So, yeah, we scored 11 points.
Did you get your guy back for the Heritage Bowl?
No, that was it. That was it for him. He was a senior. But he's the only quarterback that ever led a Texas Southern football program to the SWAC championship. His name is Arvell Nelson. He's from Cleveland Heights, you know, and he's doing a great job now. He's one of the coaches up there in Cleveland, and he's a icon in indoor football. So he go from defense end to quarterback. But that's true story, Coach. It's true story. So if you re-look that film again, start looking at it and saying, why are those linemen running in each other? And it happened more from the second quarter on to the rest of the game. I didn't know what was happening, man.
But hey, that defense was, y'all gave it up to them on the goal line, Coach.
Yeah.
And they gobble it.
Yeah. Our defense was awesome. See, we knew that I'll be honest. I wasn't real excited, quote unquote, about whether we was gonna win or not. I felt we would win the football game. You know what I mean? So, but you know,
Bro, you gonna still have to explain to me how y'all lost to Tuskegee. But you can explain it to me that in 2 weeks, Coach, we're gonna take a 2-week break so you can enjoy your vacation and your honeymoon, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that sound good.
I'll be going for a week and a half on a cruise. We hitting the Caribbean and Puerto Rico, Turk and Caicos, and Belize, and we're definitely man enjoying ourselves, man. Hey, look, if you want to send some Zelle me.
hey, Coach. Hey, put your number in there and see how that works out.
Well, you could your cash app up there, coach. Shit, everybody else asking for something, you might well.
All right, guys, man. One more time.
The SWAC football championship game between the Alabama State Hornets and the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern is looking for their first SWAC championship since 1968. And just moments ago, Texas Southern head coach Johnnie addressed his team.